In the cold winter of 1873, in the German quarter of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, strange rumors spread about 11-year-old Emma Richter. They said that this pale girl with big gray eyes possessed a mind beyond compare. She instantly determined the day of the week for any historical date, remembered conversations after hearing them once, and could precisely count the number of steps between houses in their quarter. At a time when science knew nothing of such phenomena, her gift seemed either a divine blessing or a sign of something sinister. At first, Emma's abilities inspired admiration, but when she began revealing secrets, predicting deaths, and pointing out details of crimes, horror replaced fascination. In spring, 3 people died. 1 family fled at night, and Emma herself disappeared, leaving behind a leather notebook filled with mysterious numbers. The German quarter of Milwaukee was noisy, with red brick breweries, wooden houses, and conversations where German speech mixed with English. About 8,000 immigrants created here a little copy of Bavaria. Men worked at Schlitz and Best breweries, while women kept house, grew vegetables. Heinrich and Greta Richter came from Bavaria in 1861 with a newborn daughter. Heinrich got a job at a brewery. Greta earned extra by doing laundry. Emma was born prematurely on the ocean crossing and was so weak that doctors doubted her survival. But the girl lived, retaining frailty and an anxious attentiveness of gaze. In childhood, she rarely cried, preferring to sit silently and observe. By 4, her parents noticed something unusual. Emma repeated word-for-word conversations heard several days earlier with exact intonation. She counted everything: stitches on embroidery, steps to the bakery, gaps between brewery vats. She absorbed math instantly, solving problems faster than her father could write them. At first, neighbors treated this with curiosity and caution. Old women crossed themselves under her gaze, but the priest considered her abilities a gift. Everything changed in the winter of 1872, when Lake Michigan froze for the first time in a generation and families huddled in cold houses. During that long winter, Emma's habit of observing took on a new shade. She sat by the kitchen window, watching every movement of neighbors. Her attention went beyond numbers. She noticed patterns of behavior. A man go to work always by one path-changed route once a week. A woman hung laundry in a certain order, but altered it when her husband was late. At first, this seemed a strange game until Emma began voicing her conclusions. On a February morning of 1873, she made a prediction that shocked everyone. A worker named Dietrich would not return from the brewery and would die at 2:14 p.m. hours later. It came true. Cause of death: heart failure from alcoholism. But the precision of time bred horror. Rumors spread instantly. Some spoke of coincidence, others of dark power. Glances once friendly became wary. The priest, who had recently praised Emma, now advised her parents to pray and keep the girl away from strangers' eyes. Emma's observations continued. She noticed increasingly alarming details: secret meetings, neighbors' odd habits, buried objects in yards. She explained it as mathematical patterns: number of steps, sequence of movements, percentages of habit changes. Her words grew colder, devoid of emotion, as if speaking not of people, but formulas. Greta and Heinrich tried to reason with their daughter, but her mind was absorbed in calculations she kept constantly. It seemed she lived in a world of probabilities and numbers, not human feelings. After Dietrich's death came new predictions. One after another, they came true. At first, the accidents seemed random, but coincidences mounted. People began to avoid the Richters. Whispering followed the family everywhere. Some neighbors claimed they saw Emma writing in a small black notebook. They said the pages were covered with numbers and strange symbols. No one dared ask. By March, tension in the quarter became unbearable. Women shunned Greta. Men avoided Heinrich at work. Emma sat at the window, her gaze cold and piercing. Sometimes she whispered to herself, counting, adding, arranging sequences. The parents began fearing her as much as the neighbors did. One night, as the wind drove snow through empty streets, Heinrich discovered Emma's notebook was gone. The girl slept peacefully, but her face bore a strange expression. In the morning, she rose earlier than all, dressed, and went out without a word. She was never seen again. Only a notebook remained, found under the mattress. The pages were filled with rows of numbers, repeating patterns, and cryptic marks. No one dared decode them. Some said there were dates, others something worse. By spring, when the lake ice melted, no one in the quarter spoke Emma Richter's name aloud. But old residents claimed if you opened her notebook and understood the order of numbers, you could learn what no one should know. Frau Brennan avoided meetings, and Father Kohler stopped visiting the Richter's home after Johan's death. The family's fears deepened when Emma made another frightening prediction. During dinner preparations, she suddenly froze, declaring that the next day there would be a scene of jealousy leading to violence. Her calculations were based on observing neighbors' habits and the slightest changes in their behavior. The forecast came true. The scandal between Weber and Kellner shook the German community, and rumors of the strange abilities of the 11-year-old girl spread with incredible speed. People began whispering about the child who sat by the window, counted steps, tracked breathing, and foretold the future. With each passing day, the family withdrew further. Emma kept filling her notebook, creating complex probability systems. Now she analyzed behavioral patterns, not of individuals, but entire groups, predicting events a week ahead. Greta feared to look into her daughter's records, afraid to see calculations concerning their own lives. The turning point came on an April Tuesday. Emma noticed a breach in the usual pattern. Frau Brennan went not to the priest's house, but to the river. Her gait had changed. Her breathing grew uneven. The girl, with chilling certainty, said the probability of tragedy was very high. Heinrich barely managed to prevent a suicide attempt. When he returned, Emma calmly noted in the notebook an adjustment of probability considering third-party intervention. For her, it was not an emotional episode, but a change of a variable. By then, the family's fear reached its peak. They understood it was impossible to remain in Milwaukee. Rumors, distrust, and neighbors' cold stares turned life into a nightmare. But most frightening of all was Emma herself. Her mind now resembled a soulless analytical mechanism rather than a child. Heinrich and Greta began secretly preparing to move, hoping to find a place where their daughter's abilities would not make her an outcast. Yet leaving the city proved harder than expected. On May 1st, Emma made a discovery that changed everything. For 2 years, she observed 40 adults, recorded slightest deviations, and compared data. The result of her analysis revealed a hidden criminal scheme. 7 men secretly met at night in the brewery basement, and these meetings were linked to systematic theft of beer and money in huge sums. The girl calculated movement of goods, differences between reported and actual production, discrepancies in participants' expenses. She matched routes, noted times of deviations from normal behavior, identified economic signs of sudden wealth. Everything pointed to a coordinated conspiracy. Emma even identified the organizer. Behavioral models and access to inside information pointed to Ernst Kellner. His name became the last stroke in the mathematical picture drawn by a child's mind. But with the solution came danger. Emma noted a troubling fact. Twice Kellner appeared at night near their house, watching the windows as if trying to learn how much she knew that he realized he was being watched. Now the girl had become a dangerous witness. This changed everything. Heinrich understood that his daughter's abilities had turned from a strange gift into a deadly risk. The family accelerated their preparations to flee, but Emma kept calculating. Her notebook filled with new pages where numbers formed formulas of death and salvation. In these rows of variables, the fate of not only their family but the entire neighborhood was being decided. With each passing day, the sense of impending catastrophe grew stronger. Emma calculated probabilities the way others recite prayers. And the deeper she immersed herself in her calculations, the more it seemed that events were obeying her logic. But there remained one last, darkest secret that Emma never had time to reveal. In the winter of 1873, among German immigrants in Milwaukee, a strange story emerged about a girl whose abilities caused both anxiety and admiration. Emma Richter, The 11-year-old daughter of brewer Heinrich Richter possessed an unusual gift. She saw patterns in events that others overlooked and predicted outcomes with frightening accuracy. Her calculations proved correct time and time again. A neighbor's house fire, a young worker's suicide, the betrayal of a respected merchant. Everything she predicted came true. At first, people considered it coincidence, then a divine gift. But as time went on, her mind frightened those around her more and more. By spring, Emma made calculations that changed her family's life forever. She determined that their home was in danger, and the source of the threat was Ernst Kellner, a respected community member and family friend. Emma calculated an 84% probability that within the next 72 hours, actions would be taken against them. Her notes, filled with numbers and formulas, revealed that Heinrich and his loved ones knew too much. Behind the cold calculations lay the truth. Kellner headed the largest embezzlement scheme in the city's history, and the girl, observing his habits, had uncovered the conspiracy. Heinrich realized this was not about fire or illness, but survival. That night, he went to Dr. Muller, the man he trusted most. The doctor had long been concerned about Emma's strange abilities, but after studying her notebook, he understood that her calculations were accurate. Muller grasped the scale of the scheme and the deadly risk to the Richter family. Using his medical connections, he arranged a fake job offer for Heinrich at a brewery in Minnesota. It became the cover for their immediate escape. That same night, they left Milwaukee before the predicted hours ran out. Under the cover of darkness, the family loaded their belongings onto a wagon provided by Muller. Emma watched silently and then made a cold conclusion. Within 6 months, Kellner would be arrested, but 3 of his accomplices would not live to stand trial. These words stayed with Heinrich for the rest of his life, that on the road, he felt that his daughter had not only saved them, but also destroyed the only home they had known in America. Emma turned out to be right. By winter, federal agents exposed the criminal network. Kellner was convicted of embezzling more than $50,000. His right-hand man, Wilhelm Weber, was found dead, officially a suicide. Otto Steinberg died in a drunken accident, and Hermann Kruger died of a sudden heart attack, suspiciously similar to poisoning. Emma's predictions came true in every detail. Meanwhile, the family settled in New Ulm, where Heinrich found work at a brewery and Greta tried to restore peace at home. But Emma did not change. Her mind continued to seek patterns. She kept notebooks full of formulas and observations. Dr. Muller corresponded with the family and introduced Emma to Professor Hermann Weiss from the local college. He saw not a mystical gift, but a phenomenal analytical talent tied to rare brain features. He helped her channel her abilities in a constructive direction. In the fall of 1873, Muller received a letter from Heinrich confirming the accuracy of Emma's predictions. The girl had calculated not only the outcome of the conspiracy, but also the deaths of the conspirators. This finally convinced the doctor. Emma's abilities were real and dangerous for her, as well. In Milwaukee's German Quarter, the scandal caused turmoil, and the deaths and arrests shattered the old order. Emma's story became part of local folklore. Some saw her gift as divine intervention, others as a curse. Father Call, who once praised her, confessed to Muller that the girl's predictions had shaken his faith. The last trace of Emma dates to 1875. Professor Weiss noted in a report that his student displayed unprecedented abilities in statistics and behavior prediction. Then the family disappeared again without a trace. Her later fate remains unknown. Some believe they went into hiding to protect Emma from the attention of science and society. Others think her unique gift made her too visible to a world that does not tolerate those who know too much. Emma Richter's story reminds us that the human mind holds possibilities we do not fully understand. Modern science explains such cases through autism, savant syndrome, or hyperthymesia. But in the 19th century, it seemed like a miracle or diabolical interference. Mathematical logic pushed to its limits can appear supernatural, yet it is based on observation and calculation. Emma showed that the secrets we try to hide become visible to those who know how to look deeper.